Hey, hello everyone. I'm Jessie Perkins, Executive Director of the Bethel Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for tuning in to a very special lunchbox Zoom with the Mahoosuc Sustainable Tourism Committee. Please, if you're not speaking, make sure you're on mute so we don't pick up on your background noise, and also know that this session is being recorded. Today, after more than a year of meeting, debating, researching, and planning, we're here for a little celebration. In fact, it was just about a year ago this week that many of us got together at the Bethel Inn for our big summit. And boy, we thought we had a lot to celebrate then, and we sure did. And we came up with a lot of good plans, and what an interesting year it's been since. We're launching our beautiful new website today, MahoosucWay.com, and with it, the pledge to embrace our place. This pledge represents a new way of thinking about how locals and visitors alike can interact with our environment and community, and it's getting some attention at a level statewide and beyond, as we'll hear. We're not the only ones concerned about tourism's impact on our resources, and we hope we can be a good example for others going through similar things. Since we last convened, we had a very brief but successful fundraising campaign to help keep all of this going after the launch, and I want to be the first to thank all of those of you in the audience today who chipped in. It is extremely meaningful to the committee that this message is resonating with so many businesses, individuals, nonprofits, and municipalities, and that's exactly what we were going for. So if you're interested in more detail about anything that we present today and want to catch up offline, please get in touch with me personally at jessie@bethelmaine.com, and I'm sure any of our speakers today would say the same. Our agenda is packed with special guest stars today. We'll have presentations until 12:30, and then we'll move into 15 minutes of Q&A. I pasted the agenda in the chat so you can follow along, but here's an overview. So after our welcome, we'll have remarks from Steve Lyons, the Director of the Maine Office of Tourism, funding acknowledgements from Mike Wilson at the Northern Forest Center. Amy Halsted will acknowledge our founding partners, quite an extensive list. And then David Beurle with Future IQ will walk us through this beautiful new website. Maybe you've previewed it on your own, but I'm sure there's plenty more to see. And then we have a couple of volunteers to be our very first pledge takers, Mary McFadden, Larry Stifler, and then we'll get into some local testimonials, Karolyn Castaldo, Vern, Maxfield, and Kirk, Seigel. And then we'll reveal the Mahoosuc Way social media. So have your phones handy and you can start liking away. And then we'll move into Q&A and adjourn at 12:45, like I said. So now I'll hand things off to Steve Lyons, again, the Director of the Maine Office of Tourism. And with a thanks to Steve and his staff, Donna Moreland, especially for attending so many meetings over the past year and well before. And thank you so much for your support so far. So hand it over to Steve.
Well, thanks, Jessie. I mean, certainly the bulk of the praise in my mind goes to Donna Moreland, who's been kind of leading this charge ever since Bethel and the Mahoosuc area has, got into started participating in the Community Destination Academy program. So, my kudos, my hat's off to you, Donna. Thank you. And also thank you for including me in this. I'm pretty excited to see the launch of the Mahoosuc Pledge because there are several important developments going on here that make this really relevant for what's going on right now in the greater tourism community in the state. Most importantly is that you've developed a vision here for what you want tourism to look like in the Mahoosuc region, for the future, and you have buy-in from a broad spectrum of residents, that all have come together and, welcoming people, protecting the resources, and are special to the community's livelihood. Secondly, you've recognized that to be successful, you have to work together. And I applaud you for coming together. I mean, it's pretty rare where you can see 4 communities collaborating together on such a project in the state. I mean, Maine has a very independent spirit, and and that's been very positive for many things. But when it comes to something like this, when you're looking at trying to assist with the resources of a particular community and maintain the natural resources that make you the destination that you are and make people want to come and visit, then it's important to work together. And bringing several communities to the table has made this kind of a model project for others that could take place and hopefully will take place throughout the state. Also, your focus on sustainability is very well timed. As a result of COVID-19, travelers are looking for experiences that will naturally allow them for social distancing, and outdoor recreation aligns perfectly with this. Additionally, the Office of Tourism is looking at how we can better incorporate sustainability in our own messaging and promotional programs. Starting this year, we want to get the message out there that visitors are welcome in Maine, but we need their help in maintaining the natural resources that make this place a special place that they and future visitors will want to visit. The challenge here is that many of those participating in outdoor recreation are new to the activities. You have a lot of people that we're talking to in other states that are from suburbs and may not be familiar with recreating on public lands, which is primarily what Maine in general has to offer. They expect to find restrooms and garbage cans and amenities and other things like that. And they may not understand that the vast majority of what they're doing when they're recreating in Maine is, recreating on people's private land. So I think that's, all these are important messages. Another thing that stands out with this program in general is the Mahoosuc Pledge and the Mahoosuc Region Tourism Plan is that you've taken this holistic approach that includes regional collaboration, community engagement, workforce and housing, environmental leadership, and the visitor experience. Too often what we see in the state is that communities want to jump right into marketing, regardless of whether they're of their visitor readiness. They just want to be like, hey, I've got some great things. I want to start promoting them. But in order to do that, I think you have to have a plan in place. And that's why this is so important. And this Mahoosuc Pledge and your regional tourism plan are so important to this, because this is sort of the building block or the basis for what you're going to be doing moving forward. And it's great. It also brings people together because it allows people to sort of come together for a common project. Oftentimes you get different groups, disparate groups trying to do different things. They all have the same end goal. We want more people to visit, but they ultimately don't end up working together. So by having this group that's come together and work so closely together, I think you're setting a precedent for many areas to come. I see this as a model for other communities in the state to use, kind of a blueprint for their own tourism and economic development needs. So I guess I'll end by just saying, congratulations, stay on your path. If you do so, I think you'll be successful in providing visitors with many new experiences while maintaining your own quality of life here in the Mahoosuc region. So again, my kudos, hats off to you. This is a great project. I hope to see other communities following in your footsteps. And just thanks for coming together and thanks for including me, because this is great.
Steve, right back at you. That is really appreciate you being here, and thanks for those remarks. So if another community needs this type of example, you know who to call. So next we'll go to Mike Wilson for some acknowledgements of the funding that led to this process.
Thanks, Jessie. Steve, again, for those of you who don't know, I'm Mike Wilson. I'm the Senior Program Director for the Northern Forest Center. We're a regional nonprofit committed to building economic opportunity in vital communities across the Northern Forest region of Northern Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York. And first, just want to express thanks to the Office of Tourism for the opportunity to work with them on this project and on the broader approach to rural destination development here in Maine that we've been embarked on the last few years, again, in partnership with Donna Moreland and then as the new destination development specialist within the office, which is a testament to the office for leaning into this work in this way to begin with. At the same time, I also need to acknowledge some of the funding that has supported some of this work in addition to the MOT support. The Northern Forest Center is appreciative of a grant that we were able to receive from the Northern Border Regional Commission to support a broader Northern Forest Destination Development Initiative, which is building on some of the work that we've done here in Maine, thinking about how we can continue to invest in rural communities here in Maine and also expand this approach to work into New Hampshire and Vermont and some of our partner communities in those areas. So that's just an important piece that we acknowledge, that there's funding coming into this work, federal funding, which again is important from a money standpoint. It's also important in terms of acknowledging the importance of this kind of work and this approach to work from a rural economic development standpoint. And then I would just simply echo Steve's comments about the timeliness of this work right now and the pressure that we're seeing on rural communities right now. And the replicability and the fact that the issues that have driven this work in the Mahoosuc area are not unique to this area, but I think the approach and the proactive approach that you're taking in the Mahoosucs is unique and is a great opportunity to provide leadership and help others move forward with this kind of work at a bigger regional scale. So it's super exciting to be involved with everyone on the screen here and everyone who's been involved to date. So with that, thank you.
I think it's very safe to say there's absolutely no way this would have happened without you, so thank you, too. Belong to Amy Halsted, who will acknowledge our founding partners. Take it away, Amy.
Thank you. And you know, the dogs are about to bark, which means I live in the right place. So I have the honor of doing this. Sorry. Hey, boys. Okay, ready? I'm glad it's you guys this is happening with. Hey, cool it.
Enthusiastic audience.
Here we go. A couple of words. The Mahoosuc Way and our Embrace Our Place pledge is the result of the work of the Community Destination Academy and Summit attendees, the Mahoosuc Sustainable Tourism Committee, volunteers, and the will of our community to band together. For us to continue, funding is critical. A few weeks ago, we put out a call to underwrite future efforts for sustainable tourism by asking people to join as a founding sustainability partner. The response has been breathtaking. There are ample funding opportunities awaiting, and meanwhile, sorry. I had muted that. Hold on. Okay. Meanwhile, please join me in acknowledging these special people, businesses, and organizations for giving so generously. Our founding sustainability partners for the Mahoosuc Way's Embrace Our Place pledge are Robin Zinchuk, Amy Halsted, the Philbrook Place, the Barn Collection, the Maine Mineral and Gem Museum, the Mahoosuc Land Trust, Lisa Gordon and John Treadway, the Town of Woodstock, Catherine Cat Ingram, the Bethel Inn Resort, Stephen White, Brenda Blonde, True North Adventure Wear, Gould Academy, Jeffrey Sloan, Sally and John Craker, the Maine Office of Tourism, Sunday River, the Stifler Family Foundation, Leslie Jones, Tom Davis, the Town of Bethel, Community Concepts Finance Corp, Stone Tree Creative, the River Fund Maine, Inland Woods and Trails, Mark Brown of the West Bethel Motel, the Bethel Historical Society, Future IQ, Edward Easter, Jim and Henrietta List, Align Multimedia, Bonnie Pooley, and 2 anonymous donors. I think a silent clap is in order, or maybe some dogs barking, but thank you all so much. And just, I would be a little neglectful if I didn't say there are plenty of opportunities to continue to fund the work. We have a lot of big plans. Thank you.
I, of course, join in those thanks. Good, amazing. Seriously, this was such a quick campaign and the response was amazing. And so thank you for those acknowledgements, Amy. Next up, we are going to have a brief website tour with David Beurle from Future IQ. It's David's team that built this beautiful website. So take it away, David.
Okay, thank you, Jessie. Hello, everybody. And I should say the website was really a collective effort of a lot of the people on this screen, right? So I think if you like it and it resonates, I think it's because it has had so much direct involvement of people who know and love the region, right? So I want to just say that. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to do a sort of a quick overview tour of the website. And then we have some exciting kind of stuff to do here, right? Okay, so Jessie, are you seeing the website? Okay, good. So the structure of this is that it's intended to be facing toward people who are thinking about coming to the region. So it's got sort of 2 parts. One is it internally looking, which is to help the local community kind of come together around the topic, but it's also to sort of connect with people who are thinking about coming to the region as they're planning their trip. So the point of it is to sort of prepare people for thinking about how they need to behave, how they can be part of the region, how they can be part of sustainable tourism when they get there. And Jessie, can I just check, are you hearing me okay? Because I see my audios or my videos buffering a little bit.
I hear you fine. I think sometimes when you try to play a video over Zoom,
Okay.
when it gets confused, but I hear you fine.
Okay, well, I'm going to just, I'll try stopping my video feed, right? Can you still see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here's, so when you look at this, it's going to be, it should both look like an action-orientated site, but also be appealing for visitors. So it's got those sort of two dimensions in mind, right? So the structure of it is, it has a homepage, which is what we're on. As you go into it, it introduces the Mahoosuc Way, learn more about the pledge, take the pledge, scroll down, has information about whereabouts in the world it is, a little about the sort of working nature of the landscape, then talks about the pledge, and then this is a part that we can update regularly, or you can, which is actions for the season. So this is about having people think about if they're coming to the region, these are the actions you can take to be part of supporting the pledge. Under the drop down, our pledge, and you can see here, I'm hovering over various parts. There's a kind of a detailed text that introduces each dimension of the pledge, but then also more specific things. You can go down to take the pledge, which we're going to have somebody take the pledge, the first person who taking the pledge on a live website. You can download it, you can make a donation. The section about our team really is sort of background to the, I guess, the kind of heart and soul of it, right? So the vision, the focus, the sustainability partners that Amy just talked about, and then a bit of background about the region, the connection to the trail, history of native lands and so on. And then over to our work. And this is the internal work. So these are the strategic pillars, if you remember those from the planning work. So what's going on in each of those. And then there's a resource section here. And actually for everybody on this call, there's a couple of things here worth looking at. One is the pledge brand and the resources, and the social media and marketing toolkit. So Jessie's going to talk about the social media marketing toolkit. But if you go into, for example, into the pledge brand and resources, if you go into that, it's going to give you a chance to download the pledge. You can download it as a pledge you can sign. You can download it as a poster. So if you wanted to put it up in your workplace, you can do that. You can go down, download the logos, and then it has the chance to make donations and so on. And then under the social media component, and this is something perhaps afterwards you should all jump onto, right? But it's got us, you can link it to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can share it. There's videos there, hashtags that we suggest you using, and so on. Right? So the website's intended to be both like a very useful, functional toolkit for people who are visitors and people who are part of the Mahoosuc Way Embrace Our Place pledge team. But it's also this portal for people to be able to join, right? And that's what I want to talk about here, which is, so if we go into our pledge, and you can get to this multiple ways, but if you click on the take the pledge, and I think what we're going to do, Jessie, is we're going to have an inaugural pledge taking event, correct?
We sure are. We sure are. Are we ready for that now?
Okay, and who's going to be doing this?
Well, so we have a couple of volunteers to be our very first pledge takers. So I'd like to introduce Mary McFadden and Larry Stifler. Mary and Larry represent the Stifler Family Foundation, one of our very generous founding sustainability partners, and they are huge supporters of a lot of really important efforts in our community. So we're so honored and pleased. I think ours is worth supporting. So Mary and Larry, if you would like to say a few words, please do, and then David will guide you through taking the pledge.
I don't know. I can't really, I don't know what my screen looks like here. I see the pledge, but it's really, we love the Bethel area. We've been there for 40 years. I know we're not from there, so we're from away, but I guess you could say we came as tourists and we stayed. And, we just fell in love with the area, and a lot of what our own personal values are just so mesh so nicely with everything that the Mahoosuc region and this, pledge, stand for: sustainability, protecting natural resources, and just, getting outside and just supporting our local friends and helping each other in this area. And we're just really thrilled that we've been able to be part of the region, frankly, and to give back what we can. So I don't know what else to say. Larry, you want to say something?
Just as a side note, hi, everybody. We are really committed to keep our lands open to the public. And with the recent acquisition of a large piece of property that most of us were involved with, I think the future of this area, attracting interest and tourists, will really be aided and embedded by all of the land that we're preserving in this area. And I think this is just the beginning. I hope in the next 10 years, a lot more land will be set aside. And those are the kinds of things that will bring more people to our area. And we're entirely committed to that.
All right. So Mary and Larry, thank you very much. Right. So I'm going to walk you through here, actually being the inaugural people to take the pledge, right, on the website, right? And so after we finish this, you know, everybody's welcome to do this, but the process is, and you can see here, there's a little sliding scale and a click a button piece. And so we don't want this to be lazy. We actually want people to be thoughtful and they know what they're taking the pledge about, right? So it's broken into the 5 sections of the pledge. And the first part is to, you can see here, it says, I pledge to honor this land. And that's what this piece here is, right? So if Mary or Larry, if you'd like to read that piece of the pledge, and then I'm going to click this and complete this, and we'll go to the next one.
Honor this land. I pledge to honor this land, respect working forest traditions and local knowledge, and leave this place better than I found it.
Great. All right. Next one, explore wisely.
I pledge to consider my impacts, be careful what I do, and make smart choices about when and where I go.
Fantastic.
Show respect. I pledge to understand I am one of many people who use these resources and to be kind and respectful to others.
Great. Thank you.
I pledge to embrace the shared experience of the region and actively contribute to helping the Mahoosuc communities thrive.
Perfect. And then the last one.
Be climate conscious. I pledge to reduce my unnecessary environmental impacts, reduce my carbon footprint, minimize my waste, and recycle and reuse what I can.
And that is so cool. And you can just imagine if you have thousands of people taking this pledge who are residents and visitors, what that cumulative effect of all those actions that are associated with that are, right? So to conclude this, when you do it online, what's going to happen is it'll come up to have your name. So Mary, I'm going to add your name here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I hope I got that right. And then I've got your email address here. Do you mind if I type it in while you're watching?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. I have to congratulate you for having an AOL account.
I know, can you believe it? I know, I'm a dinosaur.
Seriously, you're one of the originals. So is there anything specifically you want to commit to as following a new action? And I know, Larry, you just talked to sort of a piece of that. Is there anything you want me to add in here?
Just a few words.
Just 3 words would be great. 4 words, 5.
Preserve and protect our land and community. That's more than 3.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Submit the pledge, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And it's gone. There you go. Thank you for taking them. And you'll get an email which will confirm your successful taking of the pledge. So congratulations, Mary and Larry, for being the first person to take the pledge on the live website.
Great.
Are we still from away?
I think that's worth an air clap. Thank you so much,
All right.
Mary and Larry. It really means so much to have your support.
Glad
So
to.
back to you, Jessie.
Okay. Well, we have a few more testimonials. I'll hand it right over to Karolyn Castaldo.
Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, I am the Director of Communications for Sunday River, and we are thrilled to be a part of this process and the finalized pledge. As I've mentioned on a couple of the Lunchbox Zooms, this ties in so well to our Sunday River 2030 plan and some of the renewed commitments that we are making as a company to sustainability and being a big part of this community. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been involved and that we're thrilled to be a part of it.
Wonderful, Karolyn. Thank you. How about Vern Maxfield next? Vern, unmute.
Sorry about that.
That's right.
Good day, everybody. I'm Vern Maxfield. I'm the town manager in Woodstock, and I'm coming to you today from the gateway to the Mahoosuc area in Woodstock. I'm hopeful that this project will go a long way into the future in bringing the visitors and local people together. I believe that this has begun in a measure hoped for as the four towns' government's officials are communicating more and more. Much can be accomplished functionally and financially in this way. I believe we can accomplish a lot more as a team than as individual towns with regard to preserving and promoting our area. I grew up in a tourist area not far from here and always looked forward to the arrival of the summer people, and still do. Lifetime relationships were built that continue to this day. I'm well aware of the complaint that when people move in, they want to change it to be like where they came from. But as we promote our way of life, those folks often see the benefits of the way we live and join in. Change is inevitable, and from my perspective, working together makes life easier for us all. Our area benefits in many ways from tourism and those who visit and decide to stay. As we saw in our historic meeting with the boards of selectmen almost a year ago, from our four towns, non-residents pay nearly 50% of our taxes. Building positive relationships with our visitors can only enhance the area and in a big degree help to preserve it. Our area is living proof that working with, helping out, and building relationships with visitors, tourists, and people from away makes all of the lives more interesting and enjoyable. The information that has been put together in one place on this website, the Mahoosuc Way, shows what a valuable area and traditions we have and should give us the desire to keep it and improve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vern. How about Kirk Seigel?
Try to mute. How's that? Thanks, Jessie, and hi, everyone. I know most of you, but I'm Kirk Seigel, Executive Director of Mahoosuc Land Trust. So we're just one large landowner in the region, but our mandate is to conserve natural lands in perpetuity. And we're in a globally important ecological region. So that just really brings home the acutely the fragility of all these special places in the face of global forces that the pledge, I think, really is addressing. As many of you know, in 2020, Mahoosuc Land Trust had to install cement barricades for a month-long closure of Step Falls. And that was due to overuse compounded by pandemic risks. And at the same time, we were worried about which of our next properties would reach some kind of a flashpoint in terms of overuse. And, you know, Step Falls is just one property in the region, just one of ours, but there are others, state and town and other nonprofit assets. But, you know, 10,000 visitors come through that property. That's based on trail counters in a summer season. So for 2021, we were lucky enough to get a emergency pandemic grant to hire a summer land steward that is specifically going to be focused on Step Falls Preserve and trying to come up with sustainable solutions, both to manage people and to create sustainable funding mechanisms at that property. But you know, these are things that you know, that's not a sustainable model. We can't do that for every property. You know, we as Mahoosuc Land Trust, we as a region, you know, the other owners of these wonderful places, we can't rely on emergency pandemic grants. So one of the reasons I really like the pledge is that it really relies on the essential role of the visitor as the caretaker and the protector. And, you know, like was said, I think David mentioned, you know, facilitating these conversations between users and between the hosts and the guests, between the hosts and the visitors, is a huge thing. It's not just trying to convince visitors about something. It's creating a dialogue between the two. There's a community conversation. I won't quote Aldo Leopold as I did last time at length, but I will just mention the one thing he said: recreational development is a job not of building roads into lovely country, but of building receptivity into the still unlovely human mind. And I think the Mahoosuc Way Pledge does a wonderful job of building that receptivity. At the same time, we have to find some very significant financial resources to take care of these regional, natural, and cultural assets. And that's a whole other discussion. But this is such an important first step, and I just want to thank everybody for the great work and look forward to working with everyone on this great project.
Thank you, Kirk. Really appreciate you doing everything that you do for the Land Trust and how that benefits our communities. So thanks for those words. We're sliding a little bit into our Q&A time, but I do quickly want to show you our social media. Let's see if I can get to my screen sharing. Here we go. And share. So we have a whole page on MahoosucWay.com that leads you to our social media, as David touched upon pretty quickly earlier. But we have set up now, and get out your phones right now. It'd be awesome to see these numbers go up right as we are sitting here. We have on Facebook, Mahoosuc Way, Pledge to Embrace Our Place. So facebook.com/Mahoosuc Way will get you there, or just search for this on Facebook. So go ahead and be one of our first few likers there. And then we are also on Instagram, Mahoosuc Way. So just search at Mahoosuc Way. And we are also on Twitter. So again, at Mahoosuc Way. So if you're on any of those platforms and want to engage with this, it'd be awesome to see you sharing. We'll use these platforms to share thanks to our founders, our founding partners rather, and hopefully we'll see people start to take that pledge and see it all reflect on these pages. So anyway, this is it. We have launched. This is really pretty amazing year it's been, and I'm so proud to see that we've been able to keep this up. Look at that. Please look at this. New notifications down here. Look at you guys. Like as we speak. Perfect. And please share. You know, this is ready. Look, I love this. This is perfect. This is ready. This is ready to go. And you know, this is a year-round tourism kind of place, so there's no need to wait. Let's hit the ground running. But again, this is in many ways, for this whole process of everything that's coming out of the Community Destination Academy, this is kind of just the beginning. The pledge is just one piece of all these many pillars of work that we've talked about. And so we're gonna move past this launch, of course, keep it going. And thanks so much to Future IQ, David Beurle and his team for guiding us this far. Just amazing work, and their perspective from working on a worldwide basis of these very same issues has just absolutely been invaluable. So clap to David Beurle. So we will meet, we are going to have another meeting on January 27th. We'll keep up with working on our pillar presentations and developing those teams. So make sure to keep an eye on your inbox for that. But today we'll just celebrate this. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we do have time for 10 minutes or so of questions or comments or whatever. If anyone would like to chime in, please unmute yourself or send me a chat, and let's talk. I love just seeing this notifications pop up about people liking this. Does anyone have anything to say? We've got everybody's comments.
Hey, Jesse, Steve White.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, just congratulations to you. This has been a dream of mine for a long time. I think that your pledge really reaches out to a lot of the issues that we've been dealing with for the last 50 years that I've been here. And you're doing good work. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Again, this is a lot of work that you've been behind for years. So thank you for sticking with it. Okay. Anyone else out there?
Hi, Jesse. It's Lucy. I just sent a
Hi,
chat,
Lucy.
but
Oh, sure.
how are you? Congratulations and quick
you.
congratulations to everybody. Do we on the site actually define Mahoosuc for those who might not have encountered the term before?
Jessie?
It's a very good question.
Yes, we do. We have a go at it, and it's on the home page. So I don't know if you can go there, Jessie. And
I can stop my sharing if you have.
Yeah, you go to the website, and it's on the home page. We actually have the description of the region and where it's located. It's obviously the boundaries are a little blurry, but we do locate it, and we do talk a little about the history of it, and we talk about it in the second tab, which is about the region and everything.
Okay, good.
And just in terms of the municipalities that we're talking about, generally we mean Bethel, Newry, Greenwood, and Woodstock. That's our core of the school district. Of course, the surrounding townships, very small towns, are also spiritually a part of that.
Jesse, this is Mike Wilson. I would just, as long as we're here, just encouraging you. It's great that we've got this launched and we've got the social channels and all that. And I think it's super exciting for this to really take off, though we're going to need everyone who's on this call, not only to make your financial contribution for those of you who have, which is great, but to go on the site now and take the pledge and start building those numbers. And then we need to still figure out systems a little bit in terms of how we will kind of be supporting and encouraging all the businesses, organizations in the region to actually get this onto your websites. That's really where this is going to take off, is when we start to see this on other businesses' websites, on other organizations' websites, so that anyone who's poking around the Mahoosuc area thinking about visiting is seeing this Mahoosuc Way, and it's driving in and it's getting them to think like, oh, I guess I should take this pledge before I head up there. So yeah, we will be following up with folks on that, but encourage folks to really think about, proactively about getting these links built between your business and organizational websites and the Mahoosuc Way website.
Thanks for bringing that up, Mike. And David went through it pretty quickly, but the website does include tools such as signage and those types of materials. And I'm sure we'll come up with more as we go. And if you have a front desk out of your business or your lodging place, or you're a guide or whatever, we'd be really nice to see that out front and center as part of your registration materials, or something that guests see when they walk in, or whatever, and really integrate it to the visitor experience around here.
Jesse, I think that we should be sure to catch up with all the rental agencies as well. I've heard some horrendous stories over the summer from my son, who tried to work for one of the agencies and found that people just didn't know what they were coming to, and in fact the folks that were running the rental operation didn't know what they were offering. So we need to hook those together.
Yes, and that brings up a really good point, in that we have a lot. The pandemic has really made it so that going outside is the only thing left to do, right? And so going back to something that David said earlier, is that we're seeing a lot of people experiencing this version of the outdoors for the first time. And sometimes it really is difficult as locals in a place like this to wrap our heads around experiencing what we have for the first time. And so this is a tool that can help both visitors and locals alike kind of find that common ground and remember that we all have different perspectives, but we don't treat what we have with respect, that won't be there for long. So.
And Jessie, can I just add to that too, is I think Steve's point's very good, because while this website and pledge is really designed to reach people before they come, obviously some people are going to come and not have seen it, right? So if you go into the website, under the Our Pledge section, under each sort of topic area, each of those 5 themes, there's a whole host of things that people can do to be part of supporting that pledge, like little practical tips or, you know, groups they can go to or resources they can use and so on. So that even when people are in the region, there's kind of deeper levels of information there for people to understand what they can do, right? To be behaving appropriately. So even I think just having the pledge poster up and allowing people to be able to go to that website and be able to explore more about it could just be useful. You know, it really is, it's the thousands of little actions that are going to make the difference over time. So that's another way, is to, once people are here, direct them to it as well.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah. Jessie,
Yes.
just a brief note. You know, being 80, I'm not as up to date on social media as 4-year-olds are. But in terms of what Kirk said, when we're up there, we hike every day. And I was interested to see that the majority of people we ran into recently found our trails, 70 miles of trails we have, on all trails, the majority. So I think as we promulgate what we're doing here, we're going to see a lot more people come to us than we're probably expecting. So we sort of have to be ready for large numbers of people coming to the area. I was astonished at how many people were coming from all trails. As I said, the majority in our last few hikes.
That's a really interesting point, and it points to another new way that people are finding things and using these resources that can surprise the actual landowners, such as yourself, right? Like if you're not familiar with whatever the latest app is, and people are using trails that aren't necessarily, you know, posted publicly on the usual maps and visitor information, it can really turn into a conflict if we're not careful. And so that's a really good point that possibly we can look into sharing this with those types of apps. So that's how people are finding their information. We really have to stay on top of that.
It's good news, though.
Hey, as long as you're happy, Larry, we're happy.
That's a good point.
Too much.
I tried to drive my kids toward the Maine Trail Finder so that they could log their trail usage this year, and they said, well, we have New England Trail Finder, that's what we use. So there are a bunch of different ways that people are finding out about us that we are not covering yet, that we need to.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know who's covering you.
I want to say something about this because I went through all the CDA. Thank you, Robin Zinchuk, for thinking to invite me. I just have a very little business in town and then some other stuff I do. But after day 1 or maybe day 2 with Future IQ and David speaking at the Community Destination Academy, I was overwhelmed with the concept of the wave of people that are coming. And there are going to be a lot of people coming, and we want to be structurally, emotionally, spiritually, community-mindedly ready for that. And then we had the summit, and then COVID hit, and it was like everyone went into quarantine. And you know what? Not only did the wave come, the wave was exponential when it comes to summer and fall activity. So we have wave on wave, even though we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And it was those early words from the Community Destination Academy about people are coming were born out during a pandemic. So even more kind of the passion behind all this. And I would like to say something about the pledge, because there was a small working group that worked on that. And I want you to know that we thought through every single word that you read. There is, for every word, there is a chapter of conversation behind the weightiness of what those words are and what it means to take the pledge. So we see going forward that climate consciousness, workforce and housing, our other pillars that we will address over time. We'll also have mini groups and then the Sustainable Tourism Committee. So there's a really good structure, and we need people help as well as the financial help. But David, when you were talking about that on day one, it was like, really? And then by day 4, like, yes. And then here we are. And the mountain this morning could not have been busier for a Wednesday morning. So the people are coming, they're here. How do we want to manage it?
Yeah, Jessie, can I make one more quick comment? I'll send you 2 articles, one from the New York Times 3 weeks ago, 3 years ago, that talk about the climate change migration that's going to happen, millions of people that won't be able to live in certain areas or agriculture areas that will no longer sustain within this country. And places like Maine is going to be where people are going to move to because of climate change. They're 2 really excellent articles, and I'll send them to you if you want to distribute them for people who haven't seen that. It's pretty eye-opening when you see what's projected to happen.
Agreed. Yeah, it's been really interesting how this pandemic has reshaped our real estate situation, who's coming here, from where, how long they're staying, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll reiterate again, I'm so glad we started this process before the pandemic.
Right.
That's more necessary than ever. We are a few minutes over time though, and I want to be sensitive to that. So thank you for hanging in there with us. This has been an amazing process, but again, there will be more to come. Keep an eye on your inboxes. Our next plan is to Zoom again on January 27th, and we'll move into our pillars, and we will might not be seeing as much of Future IQ and David, his team anymore, but thank you so much again to all of them for getting us this far, and I really welcome the rest of you into this crowd, and hope to get to know you all better. Maybe even someday meet face to face. Some of you who I have never even met before. But this has been a really great process. And thanks to the funders, thanks to the committee, thanks to everyone. So with that, I'll send you off and wish you a wonderful day. Everybody.
Right.